Good morning, St. Lucia. It is time to wake up, and I hope you're feeling this energy and the tranquility. We are at Star Publishing, and as you already know, they're celebrating 30 years of existence. And let me tell you, this does not happen by chance. And today we have May Wayne here with us. I'm so thrilled to have on this morning. Welcome, and how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, thank you. I'm very excited to be here with you, talking about the Star and our celebrations of 30 years.
Now, you know what we're doing? We're literally breaking things down for you because we had Rick on last week, and I know you guys saw it too. You know, he gave us the overview and really the background and how the Star has grown, trials and everything. So now we're breaking down the different aspects. And of course, as you may know or may not be aware, there's two really strong publications that come out. And we have Tropical Traveler, which would have been out first, and then, of course, more recently, we have the She Magazine. Now, May Wayne is definitely really one of the powerful forces behind this as well. So May, just, if you can kind of give us the story behind, Tropical Traveler and She with the Star.
Obviously, when we moved to St. Lucia in 1987, 30 years ago, tourism was at its early infancies. But quickly we noticed Rick was always involved in the newspaper and the politics, but because I wasn't from here and I'd moved from California, I became enamored with the beauty of St. Lucia. And the people of St. Lucia, really, what makes St. Lucia even more special. And it was I realized there was no publications at all capturing tourism. And at the time, I started thinking about how do we start talking about tourism. Tourism, when it's in early days, those are the times when you had a Halcyon, you had La Toc, you had very few resorts. But it was just beginning in the 80s. So we found a void there, and Tropical Traveler started off as a newspaper. And that was nearly 25 years ago. It started off very quickly after the Star. Within 2 years, we started Tropical Traveler. And like I said, it was a newspaper, and we used to come out every month we would do it. And it was very exciting because those were the days we would go down to, Choiseul and watch the people, make the chairs and really the crafts of St. Lucia. So it was always a publication that it was after you had chosen your vacation is what to do on the island. And then it has evolved differently. Obviously, now it's a glossy magazine, and we changed that format, I would say now maybe 10, 15 years ago, maybe more even, from a newspaper to a magazine. But I'm very proud of Tropical Traveler because it's the only publication of its kind that has existed for so long. And people think, the Star is the Star is a very important part of it, and it records the political history of St. Lucia and its players. But Tropical Traveler does the same. It was started at the time with SLHTA was just very much starting, and Mr. Bagas was there, and now, and also Mr. Al Heyman were at the thing. So we together came up with that concept, and it has recorded the history of tourism in St. Lucia. So when you go back into the archives, you would have events, like Aqua Action, which we don't have anymore. In fact, the first cover of Tropical Traveler is Aqua Action. And then you had, when Windjammer opened, and all of those celebrations. So in itself, it has become a documentary about St. Lucia's history of tourism. She came much later, and that is because as a woman, I realized that the players in St. Lucia and the powerful people were all women. The decision makers were women, and of course, I love fashion, and I love beauty, and I realized that the story of a woman that really runs St. Lucia and most of our businesses, and of course our homes, are women. So I really had that knack where I wanted to start telling those stories. And that's how she started as a free publication at Julien's Supermarket. And that is how it began. And quickly it evolved, and women caught on to it, not just in St. Lucia, but in the islands. Our first She cover that was out of St. Lucia. We had Alison Hines on the cover. We flew her from Barbados, and she was my first supporter, I like to say, because she's very much about supporting women. So it's been a great history. We had a young Rihanna on the cover when she was starting out her career. So we take pride that a lot of the people on She Magazine, Nadine Willis, who went up to become a superstar model, was her first cover was She. She was very much discovered by She. And now her daughter is modeling. So these are lovely stories that, that she has become part of the Caribbean history of women. And for a magazine to exist for so long and to be regional is not an easy feat. It is done with a lot of hard work and a lot of passion. And I'm very proud to say all our publications are produced 100% by a St. Lucian team.
All right, St. Lucia, so this is why we were breaking down the story of the Star, and again, the different elements that really make up Star Publishing. So now you know, Tropical Traveler, She Magazine, all came out from them. And again, so many stories of how many young St. Lucians like myself and others have benefited and grown with Star Publishing. So many congratulations to you guys on 30 years, and we look forward to many more from you guys, because they've always been, a step above the rest and always forward thinking. So I can't wait to see what comes in the future, and they're part of our family, you're part of my family, so we're all here together. So make sure you keep looking out, and I'm pretty sure, May, there's activities coming up, right?
Yes, we're planning a lot of celebrations for our 30-year anniversary, so stay tuned starting from May. We also are even running a school competition to teach for encouraging people to write. We have a lot of awards coming up, so that is something. So we have those type of activities where we're engaging the schools and the students. So stay tuned to our celebrations of 30 years. Thank you, St. Lucia, for supporting us.
All right, and thank you so much, May, for being here. And St. Lucia, isn't she just fabulous? Always fashion forward as well, I have to say that. So we're going to keep following the celebrations. You're going to be part of it as well. So we will see you guys soon. Welcome back, St. Lucia. Good morning. Thank you so much again for joining us. If you just tuned in, you're watching This Morning here on your leader, DBS. Now, things are in full swing when it comes to the Rise Up concert. That is going to be on Easter weekend. Now, there have been some major enhancements, should I say major updates and announcements. But if you don't believe me, let me take you right into the world and see exactly what's new and happening with Rise Up.
I'm pleased to be here representing Rise. As you know, we're very passionate about young people, and music being an integral part of our ethos, music being part of what makes us who we are. We're very supportive of this venture because we're very aware of the fact that we're doing music that is wholesome to our young people. There's too much music that is detrimental to the future and the development of our youth. And so when we have people like Jackie and so on who are into a different kind of vibe, I grew up in an era when we sang about love. Today our children are dancing and partying to violence and songs that promote the sexual abuse of women. And so this is a venture that we are very keen to be associated with.
My 50 address really could be summarized in not even one statement. I think it's one question. How do you not support an organization called Rise Up? The mere name depicts positivity, moving to greater heights, some type of restoration of our country's value. And so when we were given the proposal, we were excited to partner with an establishment that chose to reflect a sense of purpose through its very name. Rise Up Concert, of course, it's a big deal. It will feature some of the best artists, and I am in no position to exalt the talent and fame of Sizzla and Jackie. They've done that on their own, but it's a very big deal. In addition, the targeted demographics of the Rise Up Festival aligns neatly and nicely with our consumers. So we saw this as a fantastic opportunity to communicate with our customers using a different forum, to use whatever brand equity we have to assist Caribbean reggae artists, and in so doing, bring entertainment to our consumers. Now, when I started, I used the word organization, Rise Up organization, and I wasn't being loose in my terminology. Rise Up is more than just a festival. That's the front part, that's the foreground of what you see. Yes, it's going to be a big concert. All roads lead to Soufriere on April 16th. Soufriere is a beautiful town to host it, but Rise Up is so much more than that. And Mr. Hinkson, the great, just spoke about that. The Rise Up organization has a community outreach program happening in the background. They reach out to the disadvantaged, the underprivileged, they do talks with them, they give them financial support, and a lot of words of encouragement which is needed. So this holistic approach, that is what grabbed us. Yes, you have the Rise Up Festival, but you also have, working in the back, local talent, reaching out to the persons that need reaching out to.
It's a pleasure to be here with you to make this special, announcement, to make this special relationship that we are building between the Rise Up Reggae Festival and Courts official, and to share it with our friends and followers around St. Lucia and the Caribbean, because we are dealing with a regional brand and we are dealing with a regional event. And it's also very special to sit here with you, Boo, because as you recall, 3 years ago, when Sean and I first came to St. Lucia, you were one of the first features that we did to highlight the St. Lucia Jazz Festival, and more so to highlight the talent and the type of personalities that come with the music industry in St. Lucia. And you touched my heart that day, because you spoke very highly and very passionately about Rise St. Lucia. That was our first introduction to the organization. And you were very focused on, bringing us into the forefront of helping take St. Lucian talent, especially the talent in the less privileged communities, bringing them forward and giving them a chance to rise and to shine. And that stayed with Sean and I from that day. And I used to think, wow, what more can we do? I can't teach music, I can't, teach vocals, but we gotta do something with Boo. And we kept doing different projects and features together. And I feel that that's part of what has manifested this production for Rise Up here today. Shara and Ricky also represent another magical moment in our time here in St. Lucia, meeting persons that are on the same page, that have a passion not just for business and entertainment and, St. Lucia, but you have a passion for making a difference in your community. As parents of young men yourselves, right? Big up Jose, big up Tony. You understand what it means to be an active and proactive part of your community. You don't want your children, as Boo explained earlier, growing up with violence and misogyny and materialism as their main focus or their goals in life. You want them growing up with love and culture and history and pride being, what's driving them and motivating them forward. So today marks a really, really special occasion. I can't thank Courts enough. When we first met with the team at Courts for this event, we all had goosebumps. Right, Shara, right, Ricky, we were all excited. We had worked with Courts prior to this event last year for the Bayfest Street Festival, and Brittany, you were a champion for the cause. We were able again to bring culture and community spirit to St. Lucia via entertainment. So we see it again as a very serious move on, but one that we're going to have a lot of fun with. Easter weekend, as we know, is a powerful weekend for everyone, whether you are Catholic or Christian or not. It's a powerful weekend for families. Right? We don't just deal with the Easter Bunny. It's not just about delicious chocolates, it's also about family and community coming together. Whether you're, in the hills of Bonne Terre or you're in the hills of Soufriere. There's something special about Easter weekend that does, make you want to do something positive and makes you want to rise up and do something, special every year. So we hope that bringing this event forward through conscious reggae music, with St. Lucian talent neck and neck with the regional, international talent. Again, something that we're very passionate about. There's no second stage of Rise Up. There's no number 2. There's only number 1. We're only dealing with headliners, right? From the local St. Lucian community to the international and regional community. So we're very grateful to have Sizzla Kalonji, who is himself an icon, Jacure, who is himself an example of what it means to rise up. We're very privileged and honored to have them headlining this premier Rise Up Festival. We're so happy to have young talent from DYP Band, persons like Brandon Harding, young women like Finesse alongside Rob Zai performing. We're so happy to have Mishak, who's a son of Soufriere soil, again showing and demonstrating to us if we give our local talent a chance to develop, to expose themselves, the possibilities are limitless.
All right, so there you have it. So we have Rise St. Lucia on board, Courts as well, coming on board with the Rise team. So it's definitely going to be exactly what it says. It's going to be an elevation, raising your vibrations. And of course, it's all about this 360 movement, not just with the music and the entertainment part of it, but the behind the scenes works that's reaching out into the communities. So with that, we expect even more to come up and even more to rise up. So we look forward to seeing you on Easter weekend.